Welcome to this episode of the 94twenty podcast, where we talk about the music that we love and the industry that we tolerate.
It's written on your face, I guess you mean it. Got goodbye in your eyes, I should have seen it. It's in your words, it's in your touch. I know you wanna kick up dust. Can't watch that all come undone. So leave it up to me. If this is how it's gonna be, I'll bite the bullet, take the blame, be the bad guy, it's okay. What we have's not what it is. Both know something's gotta give. Watching you walk out ain't what I wanna see. So leave the leaving up to me. No point in keeping love alive on a dead-end street. If your heart made up its mind, I'll set you free. So leave it up to me. This is how it's gonna be. I'll bite the bullet, take the blame, be the bad guy, it's okay. What we have's not what it is. Both know something's gotta give. Watching you walk out ain't what I wanna see. So leave the leaving up to me. So put down your bags, let me be that story you tell when I'm gone. Guess I'll get to moving on. Leave the leaving up to me. This is how it's gotta be. I'll bite the bullet, take the blame, be the bad guy, it's okay. Both know something's gotta give. No, we can't go on like this. Watching you walk out ain't what I wanna see. So leave the leaving up to me. Leave the leaving up to me. Leave the leaving up to me.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the 94twenty podcast. That was Shelby Lynn Madison with Leave the Leavin'. Hi, Carl and Greg. How are you both doing?
Hello. Hello.
Are we doing this again?
We are. It's another week of us doing it.
I feel like I'm in like a Groundhog's Day.
You're right.
Hello.
Hello.
I go, hello, Carl and Greg. And, oh, man. I like that. It's very very country, right? Very like, even her name is very country. Shelby Lynn Madison, just really country twang to her voice.
We have featured a Shelby Lynn before, but
No,
now
we have
Shelby Lynn.
No, we featured a Shelby Lee Lewis.
Oh, I thought his name was Shelby
No,
Lynn.
Shelby Lee Lewis, and then
okay.
Shelby Lynn Madison. I actually had to make sure before this episode that I didn't say Shelby Lee Lewis.
The thing I like about the track is the arrangement. If you'll notice, if you'll go back and listen to every hit country record for the last 40 years, 50 years, the vocals are always front and center, and it's always about the vocal. And that's the way this is kind of produced. I enjoyed it thoroughly because I got some of her personality. I got to hear her voice. I got to hear, and like the players weren't like, the arrangement wasn't stepping all over the vocal like sometimes you hear.
Well, basically, it's a good mix.
Yeah.
I think a lot of indie artists, because they're doing a lot of stuff at home, because they got the computer, we have equipment and plug-ins and stuff. Yep. But a lot of guys, maybe can make good recordings, but they really don't know how to sonically mix stuff. people don't know what, what EQ, what,
the sweet spot for where the vocal register
the bass
is,
should
right?
fall here, the drums fall here, so everything has a place.
Yeah.
So it all fits, and you hear like in some of those old 60s, like rock records, you can hear the drums and the lead guitar and the bass, and they all sound there. Well, now it's all just a big hodgepodge,
there's
so
a lot
I
of
don't really know
air
how
in
to do all the
between.
frequency response stuff to really have it. When I worked with Scott, he showed me that where he knew how to mix the track to make it sound like a record.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a knack that a lot of guys maybe don't know today.
You go back and listen to some of that stuff from the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's literally vocals, and it's hard to pull out an instrument.
But it still sounds good, though. It still sounds full.
Really
it doesn't sound
good.
like today the vocals are just louder.
Right.
And that doesn't really, that's not what I'm talking about. It's just,
I also think that people knew in their careers, I think sometimes there's like this subconscious wanting to bury the vocal if you're a singer-songwriter.
Right.
I think people want to bury the vocal because they're not really confident,
Is that what happens sometimes in movies when there's like singing and stuff like that too? That I was watching a movie this week, and this is actually, when you guys are talking about this, it triggered a memory. But like, why is it in some movies, especially when like people are actually singing in it, that the music almost overpowers the voice and you can't really hear them singing anymore? And it's actually very annoying.
I don't know.
I don't know
much about.
Well, go watch the movie Wish, and there's like one or two songs where literally the music is almost overpowering the voice and you can't like hear them sing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are separate mixes for everything. So there's a movie mixer, there would be an underlying track mix.
And also, don't forget, just because something's in a movie doesn't mean the mixture was good.
No, I get that.
Then everybody gets good at what they do, so.
And it's a listening environment too. I mean, that changes completely.
Or it could be a choice. They wanted it to be. They want people to struggle to hear the vocal because...
They wanted everyone to lean closer.
Who knows?
Lean in listening. That's what they call it. Yeah.
So anyway, that's it.
Are we done?
Are we done? Well, I think, Carl, we haven't done what we needed to do this week, and that's officially say happy birthday to Greg.
Somebody said
I'm a little
something
annoyed
about,
you didn't comment on the picture that we beautifully put out for you. So.
I've gotten together with my legal counsel, and I'm going to see what could be done about it.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll wait and see. We thought it was a beautiful picture. I mean, you posted it. We just pulled it from your social.
Yeah, it's AI, and I just think it's just bizarre. And what's interesting about it is that you kind of can't look away for a second or two. It's very strange.
Happy birthday to you.
That's copyrighted.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Anyway, so it's his birthday, so it's happening.
It was
and you're joking with that too. It's like
very uneventful.
When someone has a baby, everyone thinks, it's the most common thing in the world. Everyone's had a baby. It's like the least amazing thing in a weird way. Like, look at my new baby.
Right.
Big deal. The world's full of them every day. And same thing with birthdays. Everybody has one. Big deal.
I will disagree with you on that one.
We also
It's
have
not.
this. We have this weird thing that was born from, I think, social networks. This happy heavenly birthday. That's
I haven't
a bunch
heard
of
the
crap.
What? I haven't heard that.
You haven't seen Happy Heavenly Birthday?
No.
So you basically talk about the birthday of somebody that passed away 10 years ago.
I mean,
or
I've seen
50.
people
Heavenly
recognize the
birthday.
anniversary of that, but I've not seen Heavenly Birthday.
No,
so.
not the anniversary of their death. I think it's their birthdays are continued to be celebrated, but now they ain't been around. Grandpa ain't been around for 25 years, but it's his birthday today. It's bizarre.
I remember my grandparents' birthday and things like that who have passed, but like we're not actively celebrating or like recognizing it on social media.
Something tells me that if I'm enjoying my time in heaven, if I've gone to my reward, I ain't giving a damn about my birthday.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is an aside, change the subject. The way, these polar bear people, they jump into ice water,
You mean the polar bear plunge?
polar bear plunge things, right? Where, like, you can jump into freezing water, right?
And the Wim Hof method, that's a big deal right
I was
now in
wondering,
the wellness community.
how come you can't jump into boiling water?
Let's start that
The
trend.
opposite. Like, what? You can't do that, right?
Actually, I've had a little bit of experience with that over the last few weeks. We got a new water heater, and we can't figure out how to turn the heat down. So, you'll get...
You're playing with fire there.
You'll step into the bathtub and be like, ah! Screams from the bathroom.
All right, so now... Useless stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
our useless nonsense, or what did they call it last week?
That's entertainment right there.
Right.
So, going off of what Greg was saying, more so in the social media realm and social networks, I don't know if you both realize, but this week, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I believe I think YouTube at some point, all went down.
Yeah,
for maybe
LinkedIn
like an
screwed me
hour or
up
two.
yesterday, yeah.
So...
I hope that was someone, a hacker.
No, it wasn't a hacker. I thought at first it was because I was checking it right before I was going into a few client meetings and realized that I couldn't access anything to show them. But it was one of those things that it reminded me that we haven't spoken about in a while is for music artists, because we are a music podcast, if you are only utilizing these social networks, how do you reach your audience and your fans if these go away? Because they did. Effectively, for about 2 to 3 hours, Tuesday and Wednesday, you couldn't access some of these networks. So
you go back to what I did. You put posters up on poles, you play around town, and
you put cassettes in toasters.
Yeah.
But also
cassettes and toasters, baby.
Like obviously that, but like from the way that things are run now, you also have to have your own email list. Like, you have to have a way for people to be able to, you have to have a way to get in touch with your fans. So, like,
you know what you do? You know what you do?
What?
You give up.
You give up?
You go back to college. Come on.
It's something nowadays, especially what was funny though, is a lot of people flocked to Twitter to find out if these things were down, and Twitter never went down. So Elon Musk somewhere is probably like sitting there with such a grin on his face. But on top of that, no one really talked about it. Like, once all the networks were back up and running, like, everyone was just like, oh, it's back to business. And to me, it's like, this is such a sticking point, because if you lose the network, more so than not, you have to have a way for your fans to get in touch with you. So you have to what we call de-platform them.
That's
one thing I wanted to bring up.
So we, like, years and years ago, I played this friend's wedding or friend's birthday. It was some kind of party, and I think it might have even been a bar mitzvah. I don't even know, but we were all plugged in this like little hall, or it wasn't really a place for a band. So we set up, and we have everything plugged into one socket. But it was into the one socket that had a junction box, but everything led to one plug, right?
Wow.
So some lady
literally pulled
some
the plug.
lady thought we were too loud. Some grandmother came out and pulled the plug, and we just stopped. So that's what I wish would happen with Facebook. Somebody would just, is there a plug
they
to
did.
pull?
Well,
pull the plug.
Whatever they did, it was pulled for like 2
and
or
then
3
cut
hours.
Cut the plug.
Actually, some say it's because of some underwater cord or something like that got cut or something. I don't know. There's so many different things
why
flying
don't we
around
start
as to
our
why
own
it
little
happened.
thing? Let's start something called, how about lumped in? We'll call it
Lumped in.
lumped in.
Well, no, a couple years ago, Carl, you and I created like a musicians only Facebook. I forgot what we called it, but we did do that. It's not hard
to do. Yeah. But then everything else, you got to promote this stuff.
I kind of fantasize going back to like 50 years ago where, people could sell physical product and, they could sell, singles out of their trunk, and there was actually an exchange of cash. There was actually an exchange of value. I made this. Hope you like it. Here, they're $4.99.
I honestly do not think the new generation coming up in like the music industry could handle that level of like, one, hard
sweat
work,
equity,
and 2, personal interaction. I think they like being behind the computer. I think they like being able to.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Automate some things, throw something up online, and if it goes viral, they make a couple bucks. I do not think that they would be able to sit on a street corner and sell something.
Today's PC snowflake kids, They're snowflakes. You can't say anything nasty to them. Everyone gets a trophy. You know, they don't know why they're like they're yelling why they didn't get an Oscar nomination. Like,
They can't read cursive.
Who cares? Who
Yeah,
cares?
I mean, it really is it was kind of the trenches for us in the 70s and 80s, you know, and busking was like a way of life, right? So I don't think, you may be right, I don't think a lot of kids today have the constitution that would support that, you know, for them playing in the train station for, you know, weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks. I don't know that they could pull it off.
No, because I don't even think they could even like call someone to make an appointment for themselves without the help of like a parent now.
Or an app.
Yeah, or an app or something like that. So
Well, we sound curmudgeonly today.
Well, it's true.
yeah, it is. I mean, that's kind of the way of, and honestly, when Facebook and Instagram went down and LinkedIn yesterday,
I didn't even
I
notice.
think that
Does people
I know
notice?
that a lot.
Right.
I noticed because I couldn't log into my personal Facebook, and that's linked to a bunch of all the accounts that I manage. I was relieved for the fact that I didn't have to be by my phone for however long that these things were down. But I know that there were probably people who were literally like probably peeing their pants thinking that they can't access something, even if they don't make money off of it, but just to scroll. And like that was like an existential crisis for them, where for me, it was actually a relief because I was like, I don't have to do anything right now. I can just sit here and not worry.
It's all weird. Life is just bizarre. Anyone out there who's young, let me tell you something, young people. The world now is stupid.
Yes.
The world you're in, you know, you
Yep.
think it's cool. It's
Yep.
pretty stupid.
Go stream 14 years of Gunsmoke, you'll be fine.
I thought you were talking about somewhat music oriented.
That was it. The
That's
social networks being down and the
Oh,
music
man.
artists need to start deplatforming their fans.
So why do we do this podcast?
Listen, I can't hold the entire music insights of this. You guys got the bullshit covered pretty well. So maybe next time
Right.
you guys
Right.
bring some music insights.
Well, did anything happen musically?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
didn't look it
nothing's
up. I was
happening musically,
concentrated
yeah.
on the fact that networks weren't working. So
I do think to the extent that people have migrated over to TikTok as far as, you know, like using that as a marketing tool for your musical career, I think there's a 50-50 chance that TikTok's going to be banned in the US.
oh yeah, I mean they've
They
been
say
calling for
that.
that for a while. But
And they say that it's become as bipartisan as anything. So I did post, Carl, I believe that you approved. I posted last week was the 58th anniversary of the release of Kicks, Paul Revere and the Raiders. And
Right.
I just always thought that was the most, that was the coolest, most kind of, had the most attitude
I loved it.
bubblegum
I
track
loved-
of, yeah.
I love Paul Revere Rays. I used to
Yeah.
sit and we used to look in the mirror. I used to make hats out of paper mache and
Mark
pretend-
Lindsay,
yeah,
man.
I used to love Mark Lindsay.
Such a great
Just
singer.
like me.
Great singer.
And
oh, yeah.
Hungry.
Yeah.
I loved Hungry.
Hungry. Yep.
They
yep.
were
those,
a big. I love that
Those
show.
songs were really awesome.
Oh baby,
And
where the action
they were
is.
yeah, that's where the action is. Yeah, they
Fang.
were-
Used to have the bass where you turn the bass
Yep.
over. Had the word
I
Fang.
think he's passed away in the last several years, but yeah, man, they were just like the visuals were really fun to watch. He sings his ass off, still does. They were a great band. You know who their producer was,
Terry
right?
Melcher.
Yeah, Melcher, who was
Doris
the
Day's
son of Doris Day. Yeah,
He
very
produced also
interesting.
Grand Funk.
He also hung out with that crowd that got killed up there in the hills.
Like the Manson
the
people.
Manson murders.
Right.
Yeah. It's my understanding that Charlie Manson was trying to get the attention of Melcher to produce records for him.
Right, or something like that, and
Yeah.
somebody was renting his house,
Yeah.
and he wasn't
Yeah.
there, so he was
Yeah.
kind of the intended victim, actually,
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
how bizarre is that?
People,
I mean,
yeah,
all
people don't
all
get me
that
started
stuff,
how
you know.
messed
Yeah.
up people are. What are they doing? Just live your
Well,
life.
I mean, I would love it if music came back around to that kind of innocence and attitude all at once, right? So,
It's gonna happen, right?
yeah, that
The
would be
monkeys
cool.
are gonna come back.
How cool!
on that note, do we want to listen to some more music by
Yep.
Shelby Lynn Madison?
Yes.
Who's that?
All right, so we're going to listen to her single Saying Goodbye, but before that, we'll hear from her PR company, which is Group PR. This episode features an artist from Groot PR. Groot PR is a boutique PR agency that is focused on music, entertainment, sports, and brand and influencer public relations. Groot PR also focuses on playlisting, securing sponsorships, and social media management. To learn more, you can go to grootpr.com. That is GROOTPR.com.
Honey, don't you see what I've seen lately? The wolves are knocking at our door. No, this ain't what I intended. And I guess goodbye's never expected. But sometimes in life, hearts just gotta give it up. When love just ain't enough. No, it ain't always easy. No, it never feels right saying goodbye. You can run back home to mama's and drag my name all through this town. Whatever makes you feel better. This love just hit the ground. Sometimes in life, hearts just gotta give it up. When love just ain't enough. No, it ain't always easy. It never feels right saying goodbye. Sometimes in life, hearts just gotta give it up. 'Cause love just ain't enough. No, it ain't always easy. It never feels right saying goodbye.
Nothing like some
I like it.
some nice tremolo guitar.
Yeah, I like it.
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that was a nice track.
Yep.
You know the way, like, someone builds the first verse, then the chorus, and everything's in, and the second verse, everything's in. Then there's like a second chorus, then like a little lead or a break, and then the last chorus, last verse, is the same as the first, except they break it down and no more drums, and they build it back up again.
Yep.
I think the Beatles did that first on the song "Help."
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think that's been kind of a formula for a long time.
Yeah, but I think they're one of the first guys to do it.
Yeah.
You'll have to research it and bring it back to us next week, the answer.
And you know what I always say, Carl, that you make fun of me, you've made fun of me for 20 years about, is that some of the best parts of the Beatles writing are the bridges. And the bridges are just like expert in bringing you back to the celebration of the chorus.
That's not true. You miss. I never make fun of you about that. That's. I think you're correct. You said, this is what you've said. You said the best thing the Beatles ever did was the bridge of "We Can Work It Out." That's all you said. Like, life is very short. That's it. So then that's not what you said. Yeah, some of their bridges are pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, and they just bring you back into this celebration of how great the chorus is, but they are divergent. They go off into weird places. I mean, look at Eleanor Rigby. My word.
There is no bridge in Eleanor Rigby.
It's one big bridge,
Well,
as far as going off into a divergent place.
I don't know. Whatever. I think who cares?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. It's
Eleanor Rigby. Look at all the little people. No, there's not. There's verse, chorus, starts with the chorus. There's no bridge. It's two parts. Look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby. Look at all. It's the same thing over and over again.
No one was saved. That's not the bridge.
No. That's the end of the chorus. Anyway, forget it. Who cares?
Cut that out.
Do you guys want to get to know Shelby a little bit more?
Yeah.
All right. She answered our questions of the week.
There you go.
All right. So the first question that we asked Shelby is to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi, my name is Shelby Lynn Madison, and I'm from a small town in Virginia called King George. I'm currently 21 years old, and music has been in my blood since a little girl. I started playing out when I was 16 and decided music is what I wanted to do for a living at that age.
Short and sweet.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. King George, Virginia. I wonder where that is.
I don't know. I mean, Virginia in and of itself is a state that seems to not end when you drive through it, so it could be anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Pennsylvania.
No. I mean, Pennsylvania, yes, but Virginia also.
Why is it? This is kind of funny. I live in Manhattan. Whenever I want to go to Chicago, I spend like 3 hours in Pennsylvania. Whenever I want to drive to Canada or Detroit, I spend about 2 hours going through Pennsylvania. Whenever I want to drive to Nashville, I spend about 3 hours going through Pennsylvania. Everything I do, I have to go through Pennsylvania for 3 hours. It's like, forget it.
Yeah, but so Pennsylvania, it's like 3 hours. Virginia, it's like 5 or 6 hours, depending on if 81 shut down.
One thing that she said in there that I was wondering about, actually, is she said she's been playing out since she was a little girl, and that will come back to serve her very well in her music career.
In her 90s.
Well, no, I mean, I believe that,
in her 60s and 70s.
I like these recordings, but I think these days, in order for you to get real traction and really have people follow what you're doing, you need to play. No, you need to play out, and you need to be compelling live.
Live is over.
Are you kidding?
From now on,
live's the only thing we got left.
That's what I loved about the Beatles. They said they didn't want to do live anymore. They stopped. That is pretty amazing if you think about it. They just stopped doing it. And they still sustained.
I'm currently looking up if there's a bridge in Eleanor Rigby
There's
or
not. I don't care. She answered one more question.
She
Nicole.
did. And that question was, what music artists have influenced your career so far?
Growing up, I listened to a lot of traditional country music. Some of my musical inspirations are people like Keith Whitley, Merle Haggard, and Hank Williams Jr. Morgan Wallen would definitely have to be my number one in today's country music scene, though.
What is it with... I don't know anything about Morgan Wallen. Is he good?
I mean, he's got very good songs. And
is he the guy who did Cars?
No, that was Luke Combs.
Okay.
Yeah, Luke Combs was the one that did Cars.
He made Cars.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hear the name. I got to look into this Morgan Wallen guy.
Yeah, look into him. Report back.
He's kind of been...
See if you like him.
He's kind of been a mainstay for people.
Well, they tried to cancel him when COVID happened, right? Or something like that. I forget. I feel like it was him or someone else that they tried to cancel. And then he came back like full speed, like, ha ha ha, you thought you could cancel me, but my fans won't let you. So
yeah, well, that was kind of a silly thing that,
Are they still
that
canceling
occurred
people?
Anyway. So
yeah, people get canceled all the time. We'll probably be canceled next. So.
We're not big enough to get canceled.
We need to arrive before we can get canceled. Yeah.
Hey, so, all right.
I think we've come to the end of this episode.
No, that's it? We got nothing else to say?
No, I mean, I came with my social networks stuff. We've talked about it. We listened to some great music. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the 9420 podcast. For everything that we spoke about in this episode, you can go to our website, which is 94twenty.com. That is the numbers 94 and the letters TWENTY. Until next time, we'll talk to y'all later.